All right, guys, what's up? We're here with another remote interview. This time we've got none other than DJ Jackson on the line, the TLA standout. DJ, you're competing in KASAI Pro on April 14th, man. Are you excited for it?
I'm super excited. They put on an epic tournament, super stacked. Me, Mateus Denise, Craig Jones, Mike Perez, Dante Leon, lots of ADCC vets, and Craig Jones shocked the world at ADCC. So it's going to be an epic event.
Yeah, I think so. Now, you're no stranger to competing in these, eight-man tournaments. It's a Grand Prix style with round robins. We don't know what the groups are yet. We're waiting for those to come out next week. But just looking at some of those names in the eight-man, like you just mentioned there, Craig Jones, Mateus Denise, Dante Leon. Give us your initial thoughts about the other guys who you're going to be going up against.
My initial thoughts is just try to impose the same game that I always impose when I grapple. Just because, like, if you start worrying about what someone else does, like say I start defending leg locks, to worry about Craig Jones's game, but then Craig Jones is on the other side of the bracket, and I don't even get to fight Craig Jones to the finals, and then I don't want to take time off of training for someone else's specific game when I may not even fight that person. So I just really focus on what I do and what I do best.
And you just mentioned it there, imposing your game. I mean, that's business as usual for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always like hard nose, attack, 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 attack.
So we're looking at the groups, and we're looking at the lineup for the eight man, and it's kind of a mixed bag as well, right? You know, you've got some technicians in there, you've got
Yeah.
some other guys who will probably go head to head with you. You've got
Oh
some
yeah,
tricky guys. So how do you analyze the pack in that respect?
I always got to be ready for someone to go head to head, like a real hard wrestling match because of the way the scoring set up. Whereas like some normal people that would probably pool in like a normal tournament setup with the 6 minute matches, like I feel like a lot of those guys will try to wrestle with me. Maybe not a lot of them, but definitely more than people expect will try to wrestle with me. So I work on my wrestling a lot too. It's like something I never forget. I always still train it, even when I'm doing my fighting for MMA and jiu-jitsu. So I'm definitely excited to put on a show, a real wrestling clinic.
So you got a couple of guys who I think they'll probably be happy to meet you right there in the middle of the mat, and that's Mateus
Yeah.
Denise and
Oh,
Mike Perez, who I know you know
definitely.
well, and
Yeah.
Nick Calvanese as well, who won the trials. He's got a pretty extensive wrestling background. So with these 6 minute matches and no advantages, what's the key there to kind of taking out guys like that?
Scoring in bounds. I'm not really sure. I would ask about the moving back inbounds rules later, but it's the same as wrestling. Like you got to score inbounds. You got to be able to finish inbounds. You can't let people, if you shoot a good shot, you can't allow them to escape out of bounds because that's just the game plans that a lot of people have. You get a good shot and they start heading to that out of bounds, and without advantages, you won't get points. So you got to really focus on finishing inbounds and scoring and securing points and just putting the pressure on people because the way the points work, you got to sub too because like you can win. I won every match in Copa Podio, and I almost didn't make it to the semifinals. Uh,
Because the victories are, it depends if you win by points or if you win by
yep,
submission, it gives you more
yeah,
points in the table, right?
yeah. I had a really like a grinder match with Tommy Lineker, and I remember I popped his wrist with a wrist lock, but he didn't tap. In the next fight, he fought because there wasn't enough time in between the fights for that Copa Podio show, and it was in Manaus in the jungle. It was super hot. It's like impossible to recover. So then he went out and got tapped out by someone else, like right after my match with him. But it's like I get 1 point, the other guy gets three, and I'm like, so
Right. And what
you
about the
definitely gotta.
environmental conditions then? Because you mentioned there about competing in Manaus, but New York is a little bit closer to home for you, so you're probably a
Oh,
little
it's
bit more
much
accustomed
better,
to it.
much more comfortable. There was no tournament as fun and as horrible as the one in Manaus. It was the best jiu-jitsu fans that I've ever experienced in my life. It was very well put together. It was on time, except for Cyborg and Sanji decided to fight for an hour and a half, which kind of threw timing off. But it's the best fans I've ever had. But it was outdoor in the heat of Manaus, which I was not prepared for. I don't think anyone can be prepared for it, even if you live there. Like grappling in that and then fighting with 12 minutes rest in between matches it
That's
was
rough.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough.
But what about Brooklyn then? I mean, you watched KASAI Pro there in December. They bring in like the whole pro stage to New York. That's probably something pretty cool, right? You bringing up some
Oh,
guys from Maryland?
oh no, we have a fight to win that same day. So the fight to win will be here, and a lot of our guys are doing that. So I'm not going to be able to bring a good crew, but I have a lot of friends in New York, so I'll definitely have a lot of people there cheering for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And just going back to the list of guys you got in there. So we mentioned guys like Mateus Diniz, Dante Leon, Nick Calvanesi. They're the guys who'll probably try and stand with you. But then guys like Craig Jones, Richie Martinez. These are guys who are definitely more submission grapplers as opposed to guys who go out and try and play the points game, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like when I fight them, I have to fight them the same way when I fight Gary. Just attack. Like if you give Craig a second of not doing anything, he's going to attack you, and he's probably going to tap you. So you got to just keep the pressure on and keep the pace up. Just make it a real nasty fight. You can't because you've seen his work if he's comfortable, and he does great things. So you gotta attack him. You can't let him attack you. But he's going to be trying to do the same thing. So it'll be great fights.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
one thing that came out of our little trip to San Diego a couple of days ago, we sent one of the FloGrappling team out there to catch up with a couple of the guys ahead of the KASAI. We met with Mike Perez, and obviously you and Mike, former teammates, and Mike said that he quite liked the opportunity to face you in competition. Like, what do you think about that?
Oh, it's great. Like I've known Mike since he's a blue belt. He's one of my better friends, but I'm excited to fight him too because I see how good he's gotten. I've seen him fight Joe Alexis to a ref decision, or not a ref decision. It was a sub only, but it was a really
Decision,
close match. Yeah, really close match they fought, and I've seen him do work at ADCC. Really good matches. But me and Perez are like really. I know he's much better than he was when he was here, but we're still very intimately like we know each other. And I know he's better at everything he does, but he knows me too, so he knows it's going to be a war. But it'll be a blast. When he trained here, we try to murder each other every day. So it's like me and like probably my best friend Muhammad Ali is probably one of the people I hate the most because I leave the gym just feeling like I got hit by a Mack truck and it's all his fault. So it's like I can still like love someone and try to murder them at the same time. But man, like, I was joking with Mike at ADCC because like when he was a blue belt, I used to beat him up. I was like, nothing's changed, right?
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your preparation for this then, because you mentioned they're training with Mohammed, but who else are you training with there at Team Lloyd Irvin in Camp Springs?
Muhammad, Tim Spriggs, Angelo Claiborne, and Jamil are probably my main training partners. I train with Derek and Malachi too, but
Hang on, let me just jump in there 1 second. That's that's a very different set of characters to train with right there.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is. You got Tim Spriggs who comes at you like a Mack truck, and it's like you're in a street fight. You got Muhammad Ali, who we all know is the most explosive grappler in all of jiu-jitsu. And then we got Jamil, he's like a wizard. His rolling with him doesn't hurt as bad as Muhammad Ali, but he still makes me feel like I suck just as bad as Muhammad Ali does. I'm like, how did he get to my back from there? Like, but it's great. It's great to train with people like that because you're ready for anything, any and everything.
Yeah, you got that. It seems like you got the excellent balance of like the power and the strength with the technique and everything. So,
Yeah.
but it's interesting that you're training with some guys who are much bigger than you, and then some guys who are much lighter than you.
Yeah, we all train with everybody. We're pretty good at keeping each other safe. Like most people aren't like diving into each other's knees and just the bad positions like that. Like if I'm rolling with like a guy who's 130 pounds, I'm not going to be hip switching as hard as I can from side to side because that does neither one of us any good. But when I roll with Jamil, I can roll with Jamil like I'm trying to murder him, and I just can't. He's that good. But it's good. We can do that with each other, and we usually stay healthy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I don't think it's unfair to say that you're definitely considered one of the favorites to win this tournament.
I
You know,
appreciate it.
you have the experience and the credentials and certainly the game that everybody knows that you're going to be a tough guy to beat on the night. Is there anybody in the lineup there that you think maybe is a dark horse, maybe a little bit of a wild card that people shouldn't sleep on?
It'd have to be Nick Calva. I forgot his last name, but I do know he is the guy. Man,
Calvanese, I think you say. I'm not sure,
Albanese
but
because yeah, he's the most unknown guy there, which is always a problem to deal with. Like look at Lowe versus Craig Jones. I know who Craig Jones was. I don't really think
Leandro didn't.
Lowe. Yeah, so it's like when you have a factor of an unknown where you're not familiar with someone's game or what they're gonna do, you have to be ready for anything, and that can really catch a lot of guys off guard. Like we said before, like if you attack that person, you don't really have to worry about what they're going to try to do to you because they have to defend your attacks. But if some people like to, flow into it, and man, that guy, he's clearly good. Because didn't he win EBI too?
I'm not sure if it was EBI, but he's definitely been around.
Yeah,
And like you
I
say,
think I heard.
he's picked up a few results here and there, and I think people are just kind of start to find out about him, right?
Yeah, I think he won the EBI that someone had to put out on short notice. He took a short notice call to the recent EBI, and then ended up tapping Gio in the finals, I think.
That was John Callistine you're thinking of.
Different people. Okay. All
Different
right. That's
people,
good.
but
All right.
exactly the same situation because John was exactly the same thing. Nobody really knew who he was, and then he came
Yeah.
in and he took out a bunch of guys. So yeah, definitely one to
Yeah.
watch.
So I always, anytime I see a name that I don't recognize, I always do research because you can't not know that a guy, like if I'm fighting that guy and I don't know he's a wrestler, like I'll be waiting for him to pull guard and he just starts clubbing my head.
You don't want to find out in the middle of the match, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. And I guess one more thing while we're on the line, we got a couple of big super fights on the same event, and one that everybody's talking about: Gio versus Nicky Ryan, and of course Eddie Cummings versus Renato Canuto. Could you give us your picks for those?
Oh, do I actually have to pick?
Well, just tell us what you think.
Of course I'm going to pick.
Yes.
So Renato versus Eddie. I'm going to go Renato because Renato's incredibly athletic. He can backflip out of all of Eddie's leg lock attempts all day and find ways to score points with staying out of danger. He fought Gary, and that'll actually give us a good, because I always kind of wanted to gauge how the difference of Gary and Eddie's leg lock game of like which one's better because they're both incredible.
Sure.
But I see Eddie do a lot of slick things, like lots of very, very technical with everything he does. But Gary and Gordon fight the same opponents all the time. Gary and how do I have a brain fart on his name so fast?
But Eddie and Gary, they don't, right? They don't often fight the same guys.
Me and Keenan fought Gary a ton of times. We never fought Eddie Cummings.
Gotcha.
So I was always interested to see what the level of their jiu-jitsu was. But I know they're both super high level. But I'm excited. But I think Hanato's going to pull that one off. And
how about Gio and Nicky?
I'm going Nicky, man. I love Gio, but he's in a win-win situation with nothing to lose. I personally think pressure's a made-up thing that people put on themselves. Just because there was a good Kyle Date quote talking about when he was winning nationals year after year after year. He's like, why would I put pressure on myself to make it harder for myself to compete? Like, I personally think it's a made-up thing. I don't really put pressure on myself. I can only control how well I prepare and how hard I fight. As long as I give 100%, I'm fine with the results. And because I train hard, the results are usually pretty good. So I don't put pressure on myself. But some people do, and this is a tough spot to be in. And Nicky's it's a win-win situation for Nicky. So, but I think he has the ability to pull it off because I've seen him fight when he fought Marvin. He's attacking nonstop. And he just has the cardio of a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
and he's starting to grow into his strength a little bit too. Where like when I saw him tap out Marvin, I was like, wow, this kid's really good. It's like I really hope I don't have to fight him anytime soon because I wouldn't even want to fight him because it'd be like how when Gabby Garcia used to fight Mackenzie and everyone would boo her. I would say because I'm not getting tapped by this kid, man.
That's awesome. Man. Well, DJ, I know you're a busy man. You got a lot to do, but what else have you got?
Who are your picks?
Are you allowed to? Oh, you're going to ask me now? You're going to put me on the spot?
I want to know.
All right, then why not? Well, I'll put myself out there too. So with Eddie and Renato, I think I'm actually going to agree with you. It's obviously nothing against Eddie Cummings, but I do feel that Renato, even though he's not known as a leg locker, he obviously showed that he knows exactly how to deal with it and how to get away from that game. And, I
force the game into what he wants to do.
Exactly. And while Eddie is, he has more tools in the toolbox than just the leg locks, I'm just not sure I think Renato's a little bit too slippery, I don't think he's going to fall into that.
That style of matchup works well for him.
I think I'm going to go the other way with the other match, and I'm leaning towards Gio for this because with the rules and everything that's on the line, even though Nicky's got nothing to lose, like you said, he can just go out there, attack. I think Gio knows how much this match means for him, his career, and his team. And I think that he's going to go out with this something to prove. And maybe he won't catch Nicky, but I definitely think that he's going to shut him down. And
I didn't think about the extra motivation about the team thing. That is big because like I train hard for myself, but when someone starts to when you bring your team and your family into it, it gives you that extra edge, that extra fire. So I
Absolutely,
do,
yeah. He's carrying
yeah,
the
I
weight
do,
of the responsibility of the
yeah,
team on his back, so it's a big one.
yep.
What
And
do you
then
got coming
so
up next after KASAI Pro? You're on the road
Abu
again
Dhabi
soon after?
Pro.
Cool.
Yep. I don't actually have the plane tickets yet, but shortly after Kasai, I'm going to be flying out to compete in Abu Dhabi Pro because they pay lots of money to people who win. I'm going to try, but I like Abu Dhabi Pro rules as well. Abu Dhabi Pro is a great tournament for me. 6 minute matches allows me to attack nonstop, so I always enjoy those. And then I'm going to do Worlds again this year too. I have enough points, so I don't have to. I was supposed to do Worlds last year, but I ended up getting hurt in the absolute trying to get the points. Well, I got the points, I just got hurt in the
Wow.
process. So I'm definitely excited to do Worlds this year since
That's
I missed
great.
out on.
So after the Nogi KASAI, will you be back in the gi for Abu Dhabi and Worlds? That's awesome.
Yep, yep. I may jump into a tournament here in between, then I'm not sure yet because the this month is pretty busy. So I may just use all of May to train up in the Worlds.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, DJ, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thanks a lot for your time today. Good luck in
Yes, sir.
KASAI Pro. And remember, guys, you can watch it April 14th live on FloGrappling.com.